Meeting is now streaming live on you. No, well, it says that, but it still says setting up your meeting.
Right. So now we get to do the check, and then hello for the archive.
Ah, there we are. Hello everyone. Welcome back. We're chatting with Richie. Richie, say hello.
Hello, everyone. How's
Per
it going?
usual. Oh yeah, my bad. I'm gonna post this on my thing. Sorry for cutting you off.
Are we good?
I prematured you guys. I forgot to post on the community.
Nice. So now we got the links. Fuck.
Homesteading, crypto, and solar punk. I don't know. Some of the YouTube channel follows High Elven. That's how I even came across it. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere throughout the years, but for whatever reason, I was like, "What solar punk?" I was talking to Richie about it, and yeah, dude. I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to figure out if I still like it, right? Because it's talking. You were telling me about robots that pollinate the trees for you.
Nah, what I meant to be saying is that a solar punk idea could be like a robotic horse that's solar powered, and then it functions to either help transport things or to serve a function. Because solar punk is about, as far as I understand, making a sustainable civilization something that we could access.
Yes.
Right. So
But
it's
then
in. Go ahead.
but then you split it up into lunar punk. And
Yeah.
because in my next thought was, well, I definitely like the nighttime more than the daytime. So maybe I'm lunar punk. So like, what the hell? Why can't it be both? Why can't you have just a eco punk? I guess
For
that's
sure.
what you.
Yeah. That's kind of kicking around the ideas. I mean, so cyberpunk was arguably one of the first. And cyberpunk came through. There's diesel punk, which is like Tank Girl, and that kind of like diesel steam engine. There's mythopunk, which is the Harry Dresden, and technically Harry Potter would be sort of family friendly mythopunk stuff.
Mm.
There's really wild, deep horror movie kind of realities that people like to go in, like Cthulhu and
I was
Lovecraftian
about to
worlds.
say, yeah.
And that kind of thing is not really my dimension. But I think it's really interesting to see the spreads of ideas that are connected. So I just did a quick throw of lunar punk to kind of give a response. But it's a sibling aesthetic of solar punk. Lunar punk is more universal properties, referencing witchcraft, futuristic design, renewable energy, and the circle of life. So it's more maybe a
So how
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so everything sounded like solar punk, except they were witchy about it.
All right, so we can just
Renewable sounded about solar punk, and
right. I'll do it again.
environment sounded solar punk.
I'm going to do motifs, colors, and values just to compare. So I'm getting this from fandom.com and the aesthetics
Nice.
inside of the parallels. So
Nice.
solar punk, key motifs, stained glass solar panels, plant life, art nouveau, African and Asian patterns. Key colors, green, yellow, and blue. Key values, inclusion, community, environmental awareness, local businesses over corporations, and renewable energy.
Fair.
Lunar punk, by contrast. Key motifs, bioluminescent clothing in nature,
Hey, what
fungus
up?
and mushrooms, Wiccan references in culture, glass or crystals, neon. Key colors, darker and cooler palettes, blue, purple, and pink. Key values, in tune with the spirits of nature, enigmatic and sometimes shady society. More respect for oneself and the environment than everyone else. So I think technically what you were kind of talking about is nature core. And nature core would be that kind of aesthetic theme of all of the different animals and plants and druidry, which breaks into
Yeah,
adventure core and bloom core and cabin core and cottage core and goblin core and mushroom
dude,
core and
cottage core. My girl came across cottage core recently, and she's been all about it.
nice. For
All
sure,
about it.
for sure. Does this help cast some clarity in the conversation?
It does. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah. I wish they were combined. I wish they would join forces so
I
that
mean,
they could make each other more powerful than either one could have by themselves, and then take over the world with that.
huh. I don't know if they're necessarily all separate because in some ways these are just sort of aesthetics. They're ways to think about society and life and culture, so someone could live and integrate all of those different themes together.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was thinking more, how do we turn society into these
By
into
right
these things?
integrating and demonstrating it in our everyday life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Um but I think anyone who hears about solar punk should be told immediately about lunar punk, because they're both just as cool when I hear them both. It's like,
Well,
wait,
what you're
so
saying is, I totally agree with you, but it's kind of like if anybody ever hears about Western, they should be told that there's fantasy.
but there's way more overlapping.
I agree that there's overlap, but it's like a form of forced exposure. It's
What do you mean?
talking about solar punk. I think is really good for people who are interested in that inspiration and utopian vibration. It's that
Yeah.
kind of frequency of making things better and growing in it. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes some of the lunar punk elements have a little bit of macabre. Like they're still sustainable in making things go, but there's sort of like a different kind of sarcasm in reality because it sees death more as a friendly force.
Yeah.
Things will die, and then therefore their
Yeah.
death actually serves a purpose. So if you're really that attached to it, we're going to play with your ego just a little bit because
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. No, that makes sense. It's a little more mischievous.
yeah, and I mean that in my personal spectrum, the mischievous stuff kind of gets close into like goblin punk kind of stuff, where like goblin core, where it's just like people doing silly kind of fairy fae brownies goblin kind of activity, not like red hat kind of stuff, like where they're red caps trying to destroy things and necessarily go crazy. But I think that whole world of fictional character has a lot of archetypes and motifs that we can
Yeah,
communicate.
that's what I was about to say. So if there's a core for every different entity that exists, what would be the big one for something like? Am I hearing core as something smaller and punk being something greater? Because I was going to ask earlier, like, why even
Um,
why can't you just be like, this is just fantasy, like it's always been? Why does it have to be fantasy core or fantasy punk or something like that? You know what I mean?
for sure, I think in some ways there's a division of terms makes communication comfortable because I
Yeah.
mean technically, and I'm going to do a dimension jump here, so I'm going this way. In the event that there's a conversation, somebody likes fantasy, they could like high fantasy, which is like J.R.R. Tolkien, and they could really like Mercedes Lackey and get really into the structure that has a proper count, proper court, proper king,
Mhm.
proper queen, the dragons, the societies, the neighboring countries, the knights and the peasants. Or they can like fantasy and like some really goofy off the wall stuff that follows like one character who violates all the social norms of their time. And while those are both fantasy, one of them is more of a side of kind of a contemporary narrative on fantasy in some ways, where I think it's the other would be more traditional fantasy.
Y- Yeah, but what makes it punk and core as compared to? Is it just the easy way to say it? It's just sort of like I'm into the. It can it be synonymous with archetype basically? Like
For
I'm going with
sure.
the goblin archetype right now.
I think the concept would be that they're different postfixes to communicate different ideas
Uh huh.
because core to me is like someone who is that to the core of their being would be expressing these
Hmm.
kinds of things.
I see.
So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
someone's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
vegan core, plant core, or
Yeah.
hardcore, or whatever kind of
I've seen the
attitude,
cottage core people, dude, and their
or
whole the YouTube channels. They're just
right,
that's just them. It's not like
for
that's not
sure,
their set behind the camera. It's like their
who they
clothes
are.
and their plates and what they read. It's like yeah, like you're saying, it's
Mhm.
like at their core.
Totally.
So
And then I think there's the idea of like, I got a really good example in mind of a friend who I would say library punk.
uh-huh.
Like it just when I see them, they're like an archetype of the library. They're just like the librarian, almost in the sense that like all of a sudden crazy bad shit could happen, and they would just like be prepared and like know what to do because they're librarians somehow. But
uh-huh.
it's a very like a modest style and an attitude and a approach on life that is very distant, almost Doctor Who-ish, almost far away, like really
Uh-huh.
informed, but at a far away space. And there's I think it's a difference in being able to allow people to have what they want and finding a way to talk about it.
Yeah. What curious then, although I haven't
It's the
kept up
essence.
with
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
what's that?
I'm looking at the chat. Yesnia says it's their
Well, I
essence, and
haven't
I
even
totally agree.
looked at the chat. My bad, you guys. Let me
Bruv.
just real quick though. Hold on before I lose it. Oh, I haven't been sticking to the Mad Letters theme too much, but what would you say it is? What would you core or punk would you call that? I would in my head I was thinking just Indiana Jones, like early 20th century.
Totally. Totally. It's cryptid. It's got some cryptid stuff, which is like the Bigfoots and the Loch Ness Monster. It's got
Uh,
some esoteric Gnostic occult stuff in there. I think knowledge, wisdom, understanding, entertainment, take your shoes off for a while. That kind of frequency is sort of like Haggerty. Like, yeah, this is the space where you can just kind of kick it and hang out for a while. No real expectations. You don't got to pay a fee at the door. There's not going to get like patted down by somebody. But when you talk to people in here, you're going to remember that like this is a place where everybody can come to talk. It's neutral ground. You cannot fight here. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Nice. That makes me happy. That's exactly. I didn't say the no fights part, but
It gets implied.
but it's sort of implied, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I
I feel
remember
like,
one
and
time
even if
somebody.
one does break out, it's like, fuck it. All right.
For sure. I remember somebody came in super hot, like talking really heavy Jesus talk. And like
Oh, yeah.
in a matter of a minute, they had like called out like 4 people, like, what do you think of Jesus? What are your thoughts on God? And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I have admin powers. You can hold up for 300 seconds. And like
All of them.
it worked. I got a lot of praise. Like, dang, thanks. That person was coming in way hot. And yeah, it's a matter of like being a good moderator because a troll left unchecked can make things really out of control, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I'm glad you did. I asked you that because it was the like no expectations, but it's like a catch 22 because I then people you risk not being taken seriously. But on the flip side, the balance is when you do make that connection, it's fucking real. You know what I mean? And it's like depth and meaningful. It wasn't forced in any way. It wasn't inauthentic or as little as you know as you can manage. But I do like that. I do like that. Like who even owns this place? You know what I mean? Like I don't know, dude. It just opens every day, and like we drink and then we leave. No one knows who runs the joint, actually.
Word for sure, and like that kind of echoes and points towards some things that I'm working out with this temple frequency. Trying to create a digital online temple space that people can get to, whether it's through a chat program or a video or a recording or documentation, or can't really send smells or tastes through the internet. So if you want incenses or resins or candies and treats, yeah, you're gonna have to go to random plug. You're gonna have to go to Keith's Etsy shop if you want any cool scents and things that you can interact with on a multi-sensory pattern, like candles and incenses and whatnots. But it's about creating a space.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Like, what kind of candles have you been rocking and making lately? Because I know when you light one of those things, it kind of puts your head in a different area.
I actually just sold the ritual candle. I haven't made one of those in a while. Those are the red. I do beeswax mixed with soy on that one.
Okay.
But I do beeswax, soy, and then dress it with the pure rose oil. None of that diluted shit. I'm talking like $2,000 a pound rose oil, and dress the flower with that, and I or the candle with that, and I dry the roses and get different herbs or lavender, pretty much whatever's in season and within like a mile radius of my house. I just keep tabs on all the rose bushes and all the sunflowers and everything, lavender plants and rosemary and shit. So
nice. So I think in some ways that would be a little more lunar. Oh, this is cute. It says lunar punk is basically solar punk's goth little sibling.
Yeah. See, they come from the same litter. You know what I mean? That's togetherness. It's definitely.
Dang. Yeah.
Lemuria, what's up, Lemuria? Yesenia, Pasha, nice for us back. Yeah, deep sea.
Man, this mouse is loud. I gotta get a new mouse, man. I had no idea this mouse was still loud. Tell me here to click on
Who's in the room? Everyone say hello. There's only 10 of us. Might as well get cozy. If you're new, introduce. If you
say where you're from, if you are.
Introduce. Yeah, let us know what's going on, you guys. Lemuria, how do you feel like, dude? I'm feeling a little spontaneous right now. The Aries is coming out. Lemuria, I know, was interested in hopping on here, and from what he said, passively, I feel like he might have a thing or two to share, or at least be somewhat entertaining and homies. You know what I mean?
I'd be down for sure.
Yeah, but dope. So we got solar punk. We were talking about different worlds. Lemuria, let me know if you're available. Oh yeah, cryptocurrency. So solar crypto.
Right.
That's part of it.
Yeah, like cryptocurrencies are an interesting concept mathematically speaking and a curious observation. However, at this point in time, I don't have anybody that I'm talking to that can debate their bio impact, the resource use that they have. That's
Yeah.
it's a big problem actually. We should really talk about it as a society actually. What are your thoughts?
um, so my thoughts were in a different dimension, to use your words, but we can put a pin in that when you just brought up because that's also super important. So if you guys are in here, we're talking cryptocurrencies now. Why is this important? Because it's the fucking future. It'll make or break you. I feel like it could get to that point. And so here was my concern with that was I and the rest of my core squad used to be super like, oh, they're trying to get everything into digital currency and no more gold or money, and they're going to super control you. And then I was like, yo, go crypto. And then I realized like a week ago, oh, that maybe this is how they get you. Like, is this how they're getting you? They're just getting everyone stoked on crypto and fucking like, oh, by the way, no more dollars. It's all cryptocurrency, what you were afraid of this whole time.
I mean, there is some credit to that. So cryptocurrency in its very nature is decentralized, which means that if the accounts are designed properly, they're all anonymous. Like there are a lot of wallets, so you don't even need to have an email address. You just need to know the seed phrase, which is like 16 words or something like that you got to know to be able to get in or get out. But as soon as the wallets are on exchanges like Coinbase or crypto.com or Robinhood, then in order to have a wallet on the exchange, usually you need to submit identifying documentation to prove you are who you are. So therefore,
Copy.
those cryptocurrency transactions are no longer anonymous. Kind of
Copy.
defeats the point.
Yeah.
Now there are decentralized exchanges that are cropping up. So there is an opportunity for individuals to be making an exchange on an exchange that itself is a coin. But
Yeah.
that's bigger scope things. Right now, I think it's important for people to be talking about if you're going to use cryptocurrency, why? What's the point? I mean, it's good if you believe that you don't want to have your resources. Let's say you got $50,000 to your name. If you don't want to have all of those $50,000 in the same type of asset, it's a matter of diversifying your assets and saying, okay, do you want like gold or silver? Because that has appreciation and depreciation variables. Simultaneously, digital assets have appreciation and depreciation variables. The conversation is an important one because if you're trying to make long-term sustainable choices, maybe choosing something that isn't really long-term and sustainable isn't the best, whereas simultaneously maybe a altcoin or a litecoin that's focused on what you want and connected to your community. If you like, let's say work in real estate, you can be in a real estate coin, or if you're connected to some kind of market or trade, there's canna coins where people who are buying and selling wholesale cannabis using cryptocurrencies to avoid taxes. There's yachts and boats, things that have been done with that. There's a lot of directions. That makes sense?
Yeah, but I think you just clarified crypto for me a little bit. So let me reiterate. That's why everyone's making their own goddamn coin, because then they just use it with the homies.
Uh-huh.
Because I was trying to figure out what the use is. If everyone's competing for a coin, like what's the point of making your own to get the world to
Agent
want
Smith
it?
in the
Or is it
house.
Smith, what up? Or is it just like, hey, we're gonna make a coin just for us, really? And if it happens to get big, it happens to get big.
So that's what Dogecoin was. There's a bunch of geeks who made a coin just for them, and it had a specific amount of coins could be minted. A specific amount of coins were started when it began. A specific parameter was put on the transactions, and then that continued to progress over many years until all of a sudden, recently, in the past year or so. Now, there are tons of other cryptos that are like that. There are people who are making quadruple the amount of increase on their money from other crypto exchanges, whether it's NFTs, which NFT can go sideways. You could buy an NFT that's a hyperlink, and then the thing that the hyperlink it's pointing at could go offline, and then you just paid for a key that doesn't unlock a door because the door is gone. So it's a lot to talk about, sort of what people
I'm
want to do with
making
it.
a fortune on Doge, and
Nice.
I'm praying to God it keeps going up. But I just made that video recently where I was like, I'm like rooting for the bad guy because I was super against Musk for putting up all the satellites in low orbit and
Starlink,
wanting to
yeah.
put more. What's that?
Starlink, yeah.
Starlink. But I'm also I want the technology. That's why I like the solar punk, because I feel like solar punk would be like, hey, let's do the blanketing with information thing, but let's not do it with fucking these obnoxious satellites. You know what I mean? Like there's other ways. So but now I'm buying his coin. You know what I mean? Now I'm like hoping for a success.
To be fair, Doge is not Elon Musk's coin.
I know. But like he's backing it and his people are backing it and he's investing in it. So Doge's success is Elon Musk's success at this point.
Yeah, and a lot of other people as well, but you are correct.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the catch-22. That's the point of the video was, all right, ride the wave. It's there. You'd be a fool not to, but just take the money you make and start doing the solar punk stuff.
What's the phrase? Take the money and run? Is that what happened?
Is that what it did? Yeah, take the money and run. There you go. Take it. I think. At least that's what I've been telling myself.
Fair. I'm going to send a blast out to a couple other humans, seeing some people rolling in the chat.
All right, so hello, Smith. Good day, Aaron Elizabeth. I don't remember seeing your name too much, or maybe your profile picture changed. Because I'm good with images, but names less.
This one here.
I know. I saw some crazy stuff recently too, and remember the UFOs I told you about a few months back, Richie?
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe those were Starlinks. I don't know what Starlinks look like, and I haven't seen them since. So I feel like I would have seen them since if they're, making an orbit every couple days or whatever. I don't know how often they orbit, but they move fast as fuck. Actually, no, dude, there's no way. If that was Starlink, that thing would have circled the planet like 6 times in an hour, and I would have seen it clear as day. They were UFOs. UFOs, guys.
This is Starlink video footage. You seen this?
Yeah.
They going about that fast?
Yeah, dude.
Those are Starlinks.
Yeah.
They just trucking.
But how was that a fucking... You see how fast that's covering the sky?
Yeah. And
you would see that same streak like 8 times in a night.
I don't think so.
Think about the sun. Think about you know what I mean? How long it takes the sun to get across the sky.
I think the Earth is fucking big.
It's huge, actually. And the fact that it gets from one side of the horizon to the other that fast, like that's way faster than an airplane.
We are small.
We are small.
We are so small. So the lens that we have is such a finite thing.
So you're saying these things are just that close to the planet?
I think so. Low orbit, yeah.
That means they're stupid low then. That means they have to be as low as like airplanes are.
You hit it with a BB gun, man. Like, yeah.
Damn.
Getting better at sharing these things live. Getting glad for
that. So how come I've only seen it once since then? I stargaze for fun. How come I've never seen those since or before? Aren't there like tens of thousands of them up in the air already? There are, actually. There's tens of thousands already that have been launched.
Maybe they turned their lights off.
Oh, yeah, true. I just have so many questions, Richie. It's suspect.
Keep asking, Keith. Keep asking questions. Questions are good,
suspect, man. I don't fucking trust him. This is what I'm saying, Musk. You know what? Well, you know why I also don't like Musk? Low key that I forgot about is he hates on Tesla.
Did
you see that clip of where he responded to naming his company Tesla?
Oh,
Maybe you could find it. You're faster.
Oh, I became Jamie. Dang, this went from way cool.
Or you don't have to. I'll just say it.
We cool.
Where was I? Oh yeah, they were like, "Oh, do you like Tesla? Was it an inspiration for your car line?" And he says, "I actually don't. Actually, no, because I don't like Tesla because he wasn't a good business person. Like he had all these good ideas, but he died poor or something like that." And I was like, "Damn, that was cold, man." The dude was trying to give away stuff to humanity so that we could move forward, so that we could be on Mars. Like he's like, hey, let's not charge for shit. Give everything we have so that we can get to Mars faster and stop like hoarding like dragons on top of gold.
Edison versus Tesla, because interesting, the car company is called Tesla. And the reason it's called Tesla is because we use an AC induction motor, which is an architecture that Tesla developed. And the guy probably deserves a little more play than he gets in current society. But on balance, I'm a bigger fan of Edison than Tesla. Because Edison brought his stuff to market and made those inventions accessible to the world.
See what I'm saying?
Tesla didn't really do that.
Yeah, but he just said that he thinks Tesla needs to get more credit.
He does, but yeah, that was the main thing. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So if I don't like him 9 out of 10, the one that I do like him is for that comment. But does he not know the story of Edison? He didn't even invent. He just paid people and took credit for it. He fucking
he said brought to market. He did say brought to market. He didn't say invented. So he did respond to him as a businessman and inventor. And I think an important factor to remember about Elon Musk is that's an individual who learned English from The Simpsons. Slap the like button if you're watching. And the thing that was connected to his English learning has his brain programmed as a South African angster. So he's close to Die Antwoord on the inside.
What does that have to do with being more down for Edison than Tesla?
In the way that he's communicating in a kind of a cutthroat, Peaky Blinders kind of way.
Yeah.
And if somebody's successful in business, therefore making more money, therefore succeeding more in the game of democracy, they are a more looked up to person rather than somebody who may be an avant-garde genius. But the fact that they were malfunctioning inside of the current model of reality means that there's not really an effective way to look up to them because they're not giving you a model that's going to line your pockets heavily. Like if your primary focus was making income, I think as an inventor, it'd be clear who you were focusing on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that Musk is not doing a good job. Like at being a moneymaker, yeah, he's 1,000 times better than yeah. But I'm just saying, if you were talking true, Elon Musk's motto is let's colonize Mars. Let's move humanity into the future.
Musk got a loading problem. Looks like it's spinning circle. Can you get your YouTube stream to check?
Yes, I can.
Got a response from Spinning Wheel of Death.
Do they hear us still? Oh no, it's probably cut out completely then.
Checking into it.
I'm looking right now.
Yep, I'm telling Lemuria and Candace, Aaron and Agent Smith, we sees it. We're working on it. Right, yes, Smith is asking about connection errors potentially. Somebody running a microwave near you because you're wireless, right?
It wouldn't be just spinning, like it would glitch, right? It wouldn't just stop like that. That's kind of scary that it's that stopped.
Yeah. I'll see if I can change my virtual backgrounds to things that aren't going to trip a kind of maybe I'm violating copyright stuff.
So my stream is up. It actually says excellent condition.
All right.
Excellent connection.
Okay. Can you tune in and watch it?
Negative. No. I'm getting the spinning wheel too inside of YouTube Studio.
Then you can break and rehost because there's only one person watching.
What's that?
I'd say you could potentially break and rehost. I only see one person who's connected and watching right now, and it sounded like there were like 3 or 4 people who were trying to watch. So if you end it and then rehost it again, they'll probably be able to click back in.